Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Propagandacast Lehr with me, your host Imperial Lane, covering today the Centaur AA Mark II cruiser tank. Available here from the company command post at a 320 manpower and 100 fuel. A bit more of an expensive for an anti-aircraft vehicle, but certainly also, whoops, a diddly there, which I was asking for to this point, but overall a bit more capable in some senses. I mean, again, it's available there from the British Tier 3. It's reasonably not too expensive. It can reasonably well actually deal with infantry. It can also deal with lighter vehicles. Armour, it's not going to see very well again. So that, of course, is a little thing to keep in mind. You can't just, rush it in if you actually know your opponent's armoured. If you just have, say, a lot of infantry and light vehicles, your Centaur will do rather well. In terms of veterans, we've got the strafing veteran ability there unlocked at Veteran G1. Vet 2 makes it faster, turn faster, making just more lethal and sort of quickly better at sort of flanking, rushing in. Veteran G3 actually increases the rate of fire and the reload speed, needing overall and keep up a more deadly rate of fire against the enemy. On top of that, of course, it's pretty good versus enemy aircraft. Of course, the trick to sort of actually using it to shoot down enemy aircraft is not having it right at the very front and not engaging on enemy targets. Those will take priority. On the other hand, if you just sort of behind your other unit's bases, of course, any enemy aircraft will obviously also not immediately target it. I mean, it'll do actually pretty well. It can very quickly shoot down most, say, strafing runs and the likes there from the enemy. So any launching abilities going to be called in nearby a Centaur can very quickly then be dealt with. And of course, that's one of the sort of the strength and also generally also the reason if your opponent, your opponent will be using air support, get a Centaur and all of a sudden set air support won't be quite as impressive. And again, it can deal with it quite efficiently. So I mean, that's basically the trick to how to use that and basically any other anti-aircraft unit when it comes to dealing with, well, loitering aircraft and the likes. Otherwise, again, it can do nicely with infantry. Of course, don't rush it into where it's thickest. I mean, it'll quickly get focused down, which is generally what you don't want. Of course, it can also work together with abilities like raid operation, so it can also be used rather aggressively in some sense. But of course, I mean, do be careful. There are very much risks involved. And of course we have this little one, strafing fire, not really utilised at the moment, but basically what it does is you sort of just choose a target area in that sense. It's sort of like the same breadth of, say, calling in a strafing run, and you can sort of choose just a spot or sort of longer point, whatever you choose though. Basically any infantry unit within that specific area chosen for the strafing area gets absolutely annihilated. I mean, that is basically the end to all blobs. Again, we saw here what happened when you just rush in your Centaur. It gets absolutely hammered. So don't do that. But again, the strafing ability, very underused ability, very neglected ability. But basically, again, if your opponent is blobbing, you just sort of only want to annihilate the unit within seconds, say, actually, you flank a Pack 40, you quickly want it done with, use strafing fire. It just, anything within that area that is not a tank dies. So again, if your opponent blobs, strafing fire. Your good flank there could quickly do some damage to, say, a support unit's not quite moving fast enough. Strafing fire. Again, it just kills. And again, I'm surprised yet no one has actually tried to use it at the moment. But again, for a brief time, it's been basically overpowered, so there's no reason to use it. But now, there is. So try using it out there. You will not be disappointed. Your opponent, on the other hand, will be quite annoyed. So that basically covers it with the Centaur AA tank. Again, when it comes to AA, keep it slightly behind everything else. Otherwise, you can use it aggressively, but again, don't use it recklessly. Keep some infantry in the right at generally all times, of course, spot ahead. And of course, depending on what you can, use strafing fire ability as well, because it's really good. So, I think that really covers it. So, hopefully, again, this is sort of giving you a bit more thoughts on how to use the sort of, the Centaur. And again, fighting against it, well, shoot it. Pack 40s, mines, tanks. I mean, it'll generally fail to any tank as long as you know what you're doing. So, I mean, no problem there. And of course, if it comes to it again, you need to call in something loitering and all that. Knock out that bloody thing first. Of course, your opponent will know and try to deal with them again. That's what you're going to have to do. So there you go. But anyways, again, hopefully this has been educational. Hopefully you learned something to how to work with it, how to deal with it. And if it did, feel free to subscribe, tell your friends, share the video button, but not your enemies, because you don't want those bastards to know. So, and again, there'll be more videos down the road. They're, of course, covering more units as they come. And in fact, we just got confirmed there'll be more units coming with some new commanders here in December. So look forward to that as well. So thank you all and hope to see you all another time. Bye.